From Nairobi, Kenya, you're listening to the Kuza Podcast, brought to you by kuza.com.
Karibu sana to Kuza Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody from where you're tuning in from, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you are, www.kuzaapp.com. Thank you so much for all the amazing interaction that you're having. And we are hoping that you are indeed getting some good assistance in the things that you're reading, the things that you're watching. And as usual, we bring interesting conversations, trying to bring as much biblical context in the things that we're talking about. And today, something that all of us definitely go through. Definitely. Annie, I'm telling you, by the time we start this conversation, you'll know that this is for you. Today, we are talking about biblical insights for handling stress. Yes. I said it. Stress. Are you stressed? You are stressed, right? You are stressed. And all of us experience stress in different ways. Now, life is such that humanity, as people, we experience stress from different quarters. Different things will cause us stress. Now, stress is a natural emotion. It's there. When things get a little bit tough, when things get a little bit steep, you feel stress, and I think you just want to peel it off a bit today and understand. So what are these things? What is this stress all about? And does the Bible have anything to say about it? What are some of the effects of stress just overwhelming us and our bodies, just getting worked up? Sometimes it's either socially, it's either emotionally, spiritually. I mean, there's effects that come from being stressed, and I want us just to engage in that, because once you're stressed, there's, of course, if you're there and you've done psychology or you've interacted with these things, there are all issues of anxiety. You are snapping in a short while. Somebody just said something and you're just going off. And so you want to understand what are some biblical insights for handling stress. How can we handle these moments? And with us, it's gentlemen, and I think we need to get a lady to tell us how they handle stress. But thanks so much, gentlemen, for being with us today. Honestly, I'm not so sure you're the best people to talk about this thing, but hey, because they say men do not talk about their stress issues. Maybe that is something that
we're going to do it today.
Talk about. You're going to talk about it today.
Exactly.
All right. So basically, these guys are going to help us to just roll it out. This is Matt Elmo. That's Justus.
Thank you.
Pastor, and the one and only deacon that we have here, Edgar.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here today. The Bible gives insight and gives suggestions and gives advice on how to handle stress, believe it or not. I mean, many people just think if you're stressed, we can always look outside the Bible. The Bible is there for our spiritual needs. But before we just get into deep on this, what have your experiences been individually? It is trying to be vulnerable. What's the worst way you handle stress?
For me, I will admit, I don't feel it a lot, but I do, sometimes. For me, I just think I just kind of shut down a little bit. I want to go eat a lot of hamburgers. I want to drink soda.
So that's the worst way you've handled it.
Yeah, I would say, those ways. Okay. I would say also, too, I can be kind of quick, short-tempered with my wife and my son.
Right.
Yeah, those things.
So. You don't want you to start telling us you can wreck the car.
Exactly.
What are some ways that a bad way that you handle stress?
I think, let me say that those outbursts of anger towards someone.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Edgar.
Being far removed from people.
Or just withdrawing it.
Yes, withdrawing.
Right.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, well.
I was hoping he would say anger. I've never seen Edgar angry.
Yeah, well, that's because he's alone.
Like, wow.
He's alone when he's angry.
That's right. Yeah, he's there.
So you don't get to
Exactly.
See it. Yeah. And I think all of us, and for those of us who are tuning in, we know all of us have different ways of handling stress. But today we just want to see what are some biblical insights for handling stress. There are those of us who go into, binge eating. It's either you binge on movies, or outbursts of anger, as Matt has said, or you just, I don't know, you drink it off, you smoke it off, whatever you want to do, and people do different things. And we just want to try and understand today, does the Bible have anything to tell us about it? And we're saying that stress is not exclusive to other people and then others are, no, everybody gets stressed. And so what I want you guys to help us to understand today is just to peel the banana a bit and just give some insights here and there on what the Bible does say. I think let me begin with just as the thing that I probably would want us to try and help out the people who are tuning in to decode, it's about, what are the things that bring us stress? What are some things that cause us to be stressed?
Thank you. Thank you, Pasi. I think first, let's say that the first step to addressing stress is to really identify what are the things that are causing you stress.
Yes.
And that's the first step, because if you don't know what is stressing you out, then it's difficult to even know how to go about it. And as Mavo has mentioned, stress is just a natural response. Just like somebody will anger you, or something happens and you react in a certain way. Stress is just one of those ways we respond to those stressors, to those things that are putting some pressures on us. And when we think in terms of the stressors or things that are causing us stress, some of them, even in addressing them, is that some can have like some quick solutions, and then you are able to move on. But others, you realize that it's going to be a process, and you may have to do quite even more, adapt, or even have to adjust your lifestyle to be able to address some of the issues. But when we are talking about the stressors, is that one, at times is the things that you have experienced in the past. If you have a loved one, you lost a loved one, you lost a job at some point, and then you realize, it's become difficult to cope with what you experienced. Some people at that moment, they might opt, for me to, it's difficult for me to cope on my own. I have lost people who are so significant in my life. Some at that moment, they may resort to drugs and other things, but the past experiences that we have gone through can cause stress to us. Of course, in the present, as we get to try to cope with what has already happened. And then also, even in the present, if there are matters that you are going on at this particular moment, talk about some relationship strains, talk about, there is some possibilities of you getting into a financial crash, like some loans maybe you've taken somewhere. And you are like, no, how do I go around this? And you find, it's not like you're finding a way out of this current situation.
Okay.
That can be quite stressful.
I mean, like Matt right now, his team is losing.
Exactly. So
if it's Manchester United, that's not true.
American team.
Yeah, my American team, yes.
Yeah, is doing
if
badly.
you're a Liverpool fan, that's true right now.
Are you stressed?
You're feeling bad.
Are you stressed, Matt, about Okay.
This podcast is very important to
maybe
him.
you can
We will advise him in the process.
Yeah, so you're saying past events. You're saying past events can affect, current events can affect. But
Yes.
anyway, maybe we'll just come back to that later. Because like past events, what if I thought I already dealt with it? I mean, is there a way that something you thought you already dealt with it could still be somewhere at the back of your mind, just causing you some interesting?
We can revisit that.
All right.
Then
Or can I just jump in?
Okay, that's fine.
I will say there's been cases with me, to where I've had past events that have happened that have now caused me stress. Like one example for sure is when I was 17 years old, I got into a car crash and I hit a lady, and unfortunately she died. Now the judge said it wasn't my fault, but internally and emotionally, I was all messed up. I felt like it was my fault, even though a judge in the court of law, I had policemen, I had my family, everybody kept telling me it's not my fault. But inside I was all messed up. And I was, for about a good 2 to 3 months, following that, I had what I think I look back now was post-traumatic stress disorder, in the sense of I would find myself crying for no reason. I had bad dreams. I would just have this guilt. Like Edgar, I became quiet. Like Justo and myself, I became angry for no reason. It definitely affected me. It was the Lord who lifted it from me.
Okay.
So I've definitely felt that, where it's been a past thing has affected me later in the future.
All right, and maybe we can visit that at some point then.
Yeah.
But just so you're talking about past, present,
And
okay.
even the future.
Huh?
Even
The future. Okay, the future can stress you.
The future can stress you.
Mm-hmm.
When you are trying to figure out, you are going through school, and right now you hear, for example, the government, people are struggling out here, no jobs, that alone can put you in some pressure, and you wonder, now, even if I work all this hard and all these things that I'm doing, am I going to get a job, are there? Or sometimes you think about even the technology, which is advancing so fast.
Okay.
And you hear people are moving on in terms of the online jobs that, AI is the next thing that's going to make millionaires and such. And so you are there and wondering, now, do I have to start learning these new skills to adjust into the future?
You don't even know the meaning of AI.
And you even don't know where it all began, let alone
Yeah.
even the AI, knowing the meaning of it. But even the previous computer programs that were there, you have not even maybe done anything.
Zero.
Like there are
If somebody asks you what is Ubuntu, you're thinking,
Yeah.
who?
Somebody even asks you, "What's your password?"
What's
You
your
don't even know your
password?
password.
There's a password.
Exactly. So
Right.
so
Okay.
there is that can cause, of course, some stress.
All right.
And so we are thinking in terms of the stressors being the past, present, and even thinking futuristic.
Fantastic. So basically, we are saying if you're tuning in and you've just tuned in, we're basically looking at handling stress. And we are trying to look at it from a biblical perspective. But the baseline is we are asking ourselves, what are some stresses? What are things that stress you? Is it past events, current events, future events where you're anxious, you're fearful about things that you do not will happen? Or probably, and this is not even the final list, there are things, whether past, present, future, what are they? What are they for you? The things that would probably just trigger that kind of response from your heart. But the next question I want us to answer is then how do these stressors, how do these worries that just as is mentioning, how do they affect us, Matt? And you had just started talking about one of your stressors. So maybe you can pick it up from there and respond to the question, how are they affecting us?
In short, they can affect you emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Emotionally, in the sense of, I can have really like kind of down, almost depressed, kind of sad feelings, emotional outbursts, which we've talked about,
Right.
difficulty to concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, in the sense of you can have ulcers, headaches, even your blood pressure can spike.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritually, it could be, you just kind of, you start having some moral conflict, in the sense of, you know what, I deserve this. I'm just going to go out and do something sinful. I'm going to eat this food. I'm going to, I don't know, say these bad things. You want to do whatever. It could be many different things that, you just kind of like relax a little bit on morals and just kind of find ways to comfort yourself, even with nasty vices. Socially, it could be just isolation from friends and loved ones. So those are some of just kind of the easy ways I could say that you can name.
Right.
The where stress definitely impacts you in the way that you deal with how it affects you.
Right. So I'm basically thinking about it. Then if it affects you socially, it affects your behavior and relationship. Like what Edgar was saying, you're probably holding back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there are people who are stressed and they just go into people and they just want to drown there. The way people go to the club and have one for the road, two for the road.
Yeah.
You go so that you can just, I think that's a, I don't know, where would you classify that? A physical or
I can speak to that.
or so,
Even
yes.
socially.
Yeah.
I think I'm one person who, being extroverted, I do talk. When something is stressing me out, I think I'll really talk because I want to offload.
No, you might end up you might end up saying things to the wrong person.
Exactly, right. Unfortunately. But you just want to offload whatever things that are bothering you. After that, you feel quite relaxed. I think it's one of those things I do a lot with my friends. Some of them are here. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So now.
Me too, Justice. I do the same thing.
Just let it out.
I feel good when I talk to my friends,
and just vomit.
Yeah, I come talk to Marvel. He's like, okay, all right, I gotta go. No, I'm just
okay.
No, I'm just joking.
That is not. How are your stresses affecting you? So Matt has mentioned emotionally. You become strained and depression setting in and all. And these are things that you just ask yourself progressively. Pole too. Just ask yourself like, okay, how is this affecting me? Physically, you're tired, or you're not. If you're an exercise guy, you're not doing exercise anymore. You're not taking care of yourself spiritually. You're not connecting with God. Not more passion for reading the Word, engaging in fellowship. Sometimes prayer is fluctuating, or other spiritual disciplines are wanting, or socially. You are withdrawing from people, or you're just going and saying all the wrong things all the right things to the wrong people, or maybe it's the wrong things to the right people. I don't know. I mean, but how is it affecting you? It's something you want to think about, because then I guess it's important to talk about some of these things, because life is practical. It's not just about say a prayer and then it's done. But these are these are not the practical aspects of life, especially when things get hard. And so for you who is tuning in, you want to ask yourself, how are these things affecting you in those four fronts: emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially? As you do that, kindly remember to visit kuzaapp.com. You will get a lot of information that is going to help you to grow. Also, download the Kuza app if you've not done so. You're the only stranger in Jerusalem. Jesus is coming back, So you need to download the app and share it with your friends. If you're there and you're not born again and you are wondering how you can probably interact with the gospel and understand what being born again is and the whole narrative of salvation, kindly make sure that you click the button in the top right corner of the website, kuzaapp.com, and you'll find a video there that is going to be quite a good representation of the gospel, and listen to it. Should you desire to have a relationship with Jesus Christ after watching that, kindly make sure that you send a message there. Somebody's going to connect with you, and hopefully we'll try and connect you to a church close to you where you can grow in your faith. Last but not least, click, share, like, repeat, and that is going to be a good thing on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Let's continue on with the conversations then right there. So what are your stresses? Secondly, how are these things affecting you? But thirdly, I think, let me come to you, Edgar, because you said when you're stressed, you keep quiet. And I hope right now you're not stressed, so that we want you to talk. What are some biblical examples? Because sometimes I think one of the things that is hard about Christianity is that people think that we come up with all these principles and stuff, and then there are no real people to apply them to, only Jesus, and Jesus was perfect. All right, just think about dude was perfect. So, I mean, how do you expect him to withdraw? He knows how to, he had all the calibration within. But what are some biblical examples of stressful events or people who went through this, and so that we connect spirituality to humanity?
Yeah, scripture is filled with many examples of men and women who just went through it. Stressful events all the way from Genesis. We have examples like, I tried, just a thought that came to mind, I tried to imagine Adam and Eve. They had two sons. In the span of one day, they lose both sons. One through death, the other through being cast out. I'm sure that wouldn't exactly be the easiest of situations to think through.
Right.
Or you go all the way to Jacob and Esau, the issues they had, or Jacob and Laban, how he had been promised, he had gone for Rachel, then gets Leah first. I'm sure there was already why. Or Joseph wondering, why did my brothers sell me? He thought his brothers were, I'm sure he would have, because every time he was like excited to see his brothers. I'm sure him being sold by them is like, why?
Messed up. Yeah,
this is insane.
It's true.
But then we enter like Exodus, we meet Moses. Moses is a man who was essentially, is the comparison to Christ. Even in Hebrews, the author of Hebrews uses Moses as the comparison to Christ because of how high in role he was. And here is a man who, from the very get-go, seemed to fall short of that standard of leadership by his own admission, a stammerer. And also, when he left Egypt, he didn't leave in the best of terms. He had killed an Egyptian, and then when he goes to break up a fight between two Hebrews, the people are like, "Are you going to kill us? Like you killed the Egyptian." So already we are beginning from a bad place.
Right.
But then you have his own issues, stammering, that he spoke to. That he felt he was inadequate for that role.
Right.
But then he gets that role, and we see a lot of his people just caused him pain after pain, to the point we know in Numbers 20, when they asked for water, he struck the rock in anger, even though he had been told, talk to the rock. He struck it in anger because these people again and again were getting on his nerves, to the point he just broke. And he broke and struck the rock. And it's because of that, as we know, he did not enter Canaan. So we see there a man who went through it because of the people who had been brought into his church. We also have David, king of Israel. Here is another man who went through it from even before he became king. He had issues with Saul. Saul wanted him dead, was hunting him down like a dog. Essentially, everywhere he went, Saul was there trying to look for him. And then he already had these other enemies. We had examples where his family, in First Samuel, his family and all, and the soldiers' families are kidnapped or taken captive. And so even the soldiers are starting to be like, his own soldiers are starting to like turn on him. They are questioning him. He went through it also with his own children. We have Amnon and Tamar. We have Absalom. And so he one of the ways he like showed those stressful events is through prayer, through lament. So that's why when we read the many psalms he wrote, there are usually hints of lament in them, just him crying out, why, Lord? How long, oh Lord?
Right.
Oh my, like Psalm 42, my tears have been my food day and night. This is Psalm 42:3. While they say to me all the day long, where is your God? Or Psalm 42:5, why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me? So he was a man who went through it because of who he was.
Right.
Another is Elijah. Elijah went through it. Like, here is the man. He thought he was the only prophet.
Yeah.
He's killed all prophets of Baal, and now Jezebel has essentially proclaimed a death proclamation on his head. He said, you will die.
Right.
And so he has to go into hiding because he's like, and wonders, why can't I just die? What's the point of life if it's a constant running away from these people? But the Lord encourages him. We have Job as well. The Job is not someone I need to spell out his life story.
Right,
Here is a man who was essentially the king of a country. That's how powerful he was. Some even say he was a king. And then he loses everything. He loses his children. He loses his wealth. And then he has friends who at first did the right thing. They were there with him, did not speak because they did not understand the situation. But then after, they are like, so you are sin. That's the problem.
Right.
And so even Job again, and we see him just starting to ask questions that are filled with doubt, wondering what did I do wrong? And just a final example is Jesus. Jesus literally took upon himself the sins of the world. We see in him say to the Father, let this cup pass from me. He knew what was coming. Let this cup pass from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. So he knew the weight of what was coming.
Right.
And so we just see those examples.
So even the Bible basically talks about real people who went through real issues, who had a real challenge of stress. And so if you're there and this is something that you're going through from whatever quarter it may be coming from, we are real people and we go through real challenges that give us a real stress. So it's not aloof, and the Bible then is not detached from us, because I think one of the things as we come to summarize, and all of you probably, I just want you guys to chip in on this, is that there's a biblical way, or the Bible gives us wisdom on how to handle stress, because all the things that we need to appreciate is that God has not left us just to our own issues there and like, okay, y'all just deal on earth, survive the way you want, I'll meet you guys in heaven when the trumpet sounds, and so there's coming a place one day that all these stressors and the effects of them will not be part of us. And the Bible really reminds us in Revelation 21 that there's coming that day that where there will be no pain, no all those things. Yeah, but before then, we are here. We go through them. God walks us through them victoriously. Some of them really push us hard, but I want us to just in the next few minutes, gentlemen, what are some biblical insights to handling stress? In what are some truths or some things that we can do or participate in or remind ourselves that will show us that this is not all there is. This is not just stress is coming, you're responding in that way, and that you're fried meat. Just you're gone. So I mean, let's share some thoughts.
I think the first one I would share is that remember that God is sovereign. like he's in control of everything. 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 11, we see Paul talking about how he distressed even from like just like whether they were going to live or not.
Yeah.
But he said, but this is brought about so that I can like rely on the Lord more.
Okay.
So God sovereignly, I think, sometimes allows us to go through stressful things and
Okay.
allows us to go through difficult seasons
Right.
that make us rely more on him and realize that ultimately he's really in control. And also, you know, I love the Romans 8:28 is just a wonderful verse that he uses all things together for good. And the reason he can use all things together for good is because he's sovereign and he's in control. I was reminded this week, I did a Bible study on just going through the book of Ezra. And in Ezra, this is kind of where now the Israelites are being, they're being let go from their enslavement basically in Babylon. And they're now going back to Jerusalem to build the temple. And what's incredible is that there was a king named King Cyrus. And the Bible says about him in Isaiah 44:28, God calls King Cyrus my shepherd. He's the one that now I'm gonna let him now lead and direct my sheep, the Israelites. And he's gonna take them back to Jerusalem to go build the temple. And then he says in Isaiah 45:13, essentially that he was going to use the pagan king Cyrus to now fund the building of the temple.
Okay.
They went through a stressful time, you know, being in 70 years of captivity, but now the sovereign God is going to rebuild everything through a pagan king,
Right.
which I thought was pretty amazing. So take comfort, I think, in the God's sovereignly in control, even in crazy circumstances. He can turn it around instantly.
Well, I mean, people will probably ask, I mean, if he's sovereign in control, then why doesn't he just deal with all these things? But that's a question for another day, maybe. But that's a good one. God is sovereign, and he can use even the most difficult things to still accomplish his work. Just to anything that you can throw in. How do we?
I think it is good to get to seek in terms of pastoral counseling.
Okay.
I really prefer pastoral counseling in that at least rather than you just going out seeking any other, at least you are able to be guided biblically on how to respond to matters. Among part of the work of the pastor is to ensure we offer emotional and even spiritual support.
Okay.
So that in those moments that you are fixed, I think it is good you get to seek a pastoral counselor and will be able to guide you through.
So basically a time to have conversations and just be guided and let it out.
Sure.
For those people who not like sharing it all out at once, like some of us. Yeah. Those like Edgar who would now go and hide. So Edgar, don't go and hide right now. We want you to give us a suggestion or you know, some wisdom. How do we handle stress? What are some biblical insights?
2 quick ways: prayer and having a community. Be part of a local church.
Sometimes when you're stressed, you don't even want to pray.
But it's necessary because we'll read Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that says, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, for he'll make your paths straight.
Right.
The only one of the ways we do that is through prayer. And because the Son, Hebrews 4:14-16, has given us, because he can sympathize with our weaknesses, has given us audience with the Father. And so for us, it's to go to the Father when we are weighed down and vent to him.
Right.
Talk to him. That was the point of David in his laments. So we do that and have Christian community as well. Be part of a church.
Right.
That's always what I tell myself. Don't do this alone. Be part of a body that loves and cares for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite interesting. But also, I think also in the part of prayer, when you are not able to pray, the Bible reminds us that then the Holy Spirit does pray. Jesus is interceding, you know.
I would also add to that, Marvin, I'd really encourage someone, if you're struggling to pray during a season of high stress, read some of the books and Psalms of Lament. Just read Psalm 13. Go to the book of Lamentations. Just start from chapter 3, verse 1, and read all the way down even to verse 23 there. And I think it helps give voice sometimes to what you're struggling to say.
Right.
So those are just the things I would do.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for the conversation. I wish we would be here to talk about many other things, but for those of us who are tuning in, just a snippet on how to handle our stress in a biblical way. So some biblical thoughts. And one of the things for me, if you ask me, that you probably need to tune in again and repeat this conversation is just the fact that even the Bible has real people who are going through real things, and they are showing us real ways of handling them. And so you want to take some time. May the Lord hold you through whatever it is that could be stressing you or giving you a difficult time. You do all these suggestions that people have said here, but at the end of the day, I think it's important to know that God in his own sovereignty knows why we are in this season. And through this season, we pray that you will not drown and that God is going to help you to come through. So continually, just trust in the Lord to help you during that time, and always go back to his provisions. So may the Lord walk you through this time. If it's one of those seasons that you're walking through, well, you know what? The Lord is there. At least he has not promised to leave you in the valley. He will walk you through that valley. Best believe it. Though sometimes it is difficult, right? Well, www.kuzapp.com, that's what you want to do. Go and check it out and you'll get more information that's going to help you to grow. Download the Kuza app if you've not done that before. Get in your phone, and that's going to be a good thing. Why? Because you're going to get a lot of resources there for you, devotionals for your quiet time, etc., etc. If you do not know Christ as your Lord and Savior, top right corner of the website, receive Christ button. That's what you need to press and have a listen to the message of the gospel, and definitely get back to us if you need more conversation. Until next time, may the Lord bless you from wherever you're tuning in. Catch us later on different topics of conversation.
Thank you for listening to the Kuza podcast. Brought to you by KuzaApp.com, an online ministry with blogs, videos, podcasts, and a mobile app. Make sure to subscribe to get more content to help you grow spiritually.